All right, welcome into a late episode of Are You Ready for a Podcast, the official podcast of the Are You Ready for Some Football Fantasy Football League. We're a day late on this one, better late than never. Joe, what's been going on? How's the playoffs?
We'll see how it goes. We got, this is the first time we've recorded on a Thursday night, so we got a nice little Mahomes game tonight. So got to see how the rest of the week goes.
Yeah, so I guess we can start recapping last week, and we won't spend too long on it since it's ancient history by now and nobody wants to hear about it. But basically, so there was all the battle for the playoffs, and it came down to the only scenario where I win and miss the playoffs. Of course, predictably. But we'll start with a game that didn't have anything riding on it. It ended up being the highest scoring game of the week. Actually, we'll start with the most points of the week, which was Dan, and this one was important. Getting into the playoffs, demolishing Zach, 154 to 88. Some questionable lineup decisions would have been even better if he'd started Melvin Gordon over Jalen Guyton. I don't know what he's going for there, but it worked out. Great performance from Dan, and got the win.
Yeah, this was like I said last week, this was the most predictable thing ever. Like that Dan was going to make the playoffs. He mostly does. And yeah, I didn't think he would put up that many points. I didn't think he would pass me in scoring for the fifth seed. But I mean, yeah, like that, that's just what Dan does. He's kind of put together these he's kind of been able to stitch together these wins, post Derrick Henry injury, post Alvin Kamara trade. And yeah, I mean, nothing you can really say for Zach, obviously. His 2 seed in the Haney Cup was already locked up, but Dan, classic Dan getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely classic Dan. Big win, just when he needed it. And for Zach, obviously it doesn't really matter too much. And then we'll go to Austin, who had the next highest points. Finally coming into form. He's going to be the last seed, but gets a win, 142 to 128 over Thomas, who just absolutely can't catch a break in any way.
Yeah, I mean, again, this was like one of the lesser important games. Both teams were already out of the playoffs, but yeah, it was good for to get this one for Austin. Obviously, tough blow. Losing DeAndre Hopkins for the year, might not get Antonio Brown back at all this year, so he's down his top 2 receivers coming into the year, and if he's already got a bye in the Haney Cup, so Austin might be looking like the favorite to win the Haney this year, which I know he's perturbed by because he lives with Morgan, and Morgan currently has the Haney in their home right now. But yeah, I mean, and then Thomas, I think things are, even though we lost, things are definitely looking up. I mean, huge game from Dalvin on last Thursday night, and a good game from Kamara, and so yeah, I think I think Thomas is looking like he's in pretty good shape. I know if I knew this. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
you're frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll cut that part. We probably won't.
Yeah.
Obviously, for both of these teams, you hate to waste a winning performance in a game that doesn't matter. Thomas didn't win, but definitely could have with 128 points. But yeah, like you said, DeAndre Hopkins, big loss for Austin. He's already getting a little thin, but right now that trade with me looks like it's paying off because Donta Foreman looks like a good guy. He could start every week, which he definitely needs right now. And then KJ Osborne will be able to plug right into his lineup at least until Adam Thielen comes back, which we don't still have a timetable on that. And then for Dan, just getting a little healthier, getting Dalvin back. Maybe DeAndre Swift coming back this week, we'll see. But Dalvin and Alvin both back in the lineup this week was a good sign.
Yeah, I agree.
And then next most points of the week looks like Nick, 129 to 101, taking care of business and getting the first round bye with a win over Morgan. Maybe not what we expected, but Morgan's team didn't show up. Terry McLaurin's in the concussion protocol, and this was not the time for a dud from Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, really, Nick, I think, just won 9 of his last 10 after starting 1-3 on the year. And yeah, like he's just been, he's peaking at the right time, I guess, coming into the playoffs. And yeah, Morgan, Morgan was riding a 3-game win streak going into this game. Um, a couple causes for concern there with Terry and with lost Elijah Moore probably for the rest of the season. He's on the IR, but I think he might be eligible to come back week 17. But anyway, yeah, so those are two, pretty big blows for him. He's playing me this week, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I mean, Nick just huge win getting the bye. Obviously, having to win one fewer playoff game to win the DJ is a massive advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically 2 wins.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It absolutely is. And so yeah, now Morgan, if he beats me this week, we'll get his rematch with Nick. But yeah, we'll definitely see. It was a really good performance by Nick. He's I would put him up there with in contention for manager of the year with he's dealt with some attrition this year, and the way he bounced back after those first 4 weeks has been nothing short of incredible.
Yeah, no, huge comeback, huge turnaround. And then we got Grant 108-99 getting the win over Colin. Just once again being the first team with 12 wins in the regular season, and wasn't a great performance, but did enough and got the win over Colin. Kind of both of these teams had a little bit of down weeks by their standards, but big win for Grant, to make sure that he sort of stamps his authority on that number 1 seed, and then Colin obviously would have been 4 seed either way. So not a huge result.
Yeah, I mean, again, they were both locked into their seeds coming into the week. Or Colin could have been the 3rd seed.
No,
I don't. He was still in more. Yeah, so they were locked into their seeds. And yeah, like Grant, his points against I guess deficit, or where points against lead, or however you want to look at it, just continued to grow. Another sub 100-point performance he faced. He's 143 below the next closest, which is Ben. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not really much to say. I mean, kind of sucks for Grant that he got 2 huge performances from Kelsey and Tyreek tonight that will mean nothing for him this week. But I mean, Grant obviously enters the playoffs as the overwhelming favorite, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. We'll get the playoff preview later. And then to the matchup, that mattered a lot for me, which is that you squeaked one out over Ben, 102-95. What was a close game. It looked like you were going to kind of run away with it, and then Ben sort of started to claw his way back in it. But just starting Austin Walter getting 0 points really hurt him. And you had James Robinson obviously, so that kind of evened out. But Aaron Rodgers tried to make a game out of it, but ultimately came up just a little bit short. And he is out of the playoffs. Even if he won, he would have been out of the playoffs. But yeah, obviously a huge win for you to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I was majorly tilting on Sunday after Aaron Rodgers threw his 4th touchdown, and the projections went to like Ben projected one by like 4 or 5 or whatever, and then David Montgomery came up really big and scored 6 points on all like little dump off check down passes from Justin Fields on the last 2 drives. So we appreciate that, Justin Fields. And then yeah, Kyler and the Cardinals did just enough for the against the Rams defense to hold Ben off for me. So yeah, I mean, again, classic Dan win. I would say classic me win. Just sneaking into the playoffs, 10th time in 11 years, 8th time in a row. I just make the playoffs every year. I don't know what to say.
It's your 3rd straight year making the playoffs at 500 or below, which is pretty incredible.
Listen, the guys, we never give up. We always think we have a chance in ball games, and I would say our team chemistry is just through the roof right now, and we feel like we can take on the world. So,
all right, whatever that means. But yeah, so you make playoffs. Big game for you. And then of course on the flip side of that, I finally get my lucky win. Hadn't won a game outside of the top 4 in scoring, and this week I was 10th in scoring, got the win. All those trades that I made turned out to be pointless because I would have won anyway. Hunter's team just completely exploded. Absolutely ejected from the playoff race, and it happened quick. Of course, he started David Johnson, who was placed on the COVID list before the game started, and then Lamar Jackson sprained his ankle and scored 1 point. And pretty much for Hunter, if it could go wrong, it did. Started Godwin Igwebuike or whatever and got less than 1 point. Really just nightmare performance from Hunter. All he had to do was win to get in. He controlled his own destiny, and he lost. So, bad performance from him. For me, not a great performance. Nothing to write home about. Got the win, and it didn't end up mattering. So it'll be the Haney Cup playoffs for me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, like me and Parker were texting because I obviously needed Parker to win. That Hunter did not notice that that David Johnson was inactive, and so he started him. And had he noticed, he would have played Rashad Penny, which you still would have won. You would have won by 10, but it would have been fun. Well, I guess not fun for me because I would have been knocked out of the playoffs, but he would have made you sweat it out on that Monday night with Cup and Ertz. So that would have been, I think funny for you to see you freak out a little bit.
I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference. I would have missed the playoffs anyway. So
yeah, I know, and I would have, but
so really, you would have been the one sweating it out.
No, because me and Ben's game wasn't fully.
I mean, it was pretty much decided.
It wasn't fully decided on Sunday. So
you're not going to win a lot of games playing a defense against the best offense in the league that needs 12 points.
Well, you recommended he get the Cardinals from Thomas, and the Cardinals were worse. So
true. Yeah, that was nothing would have worked right there.
Yeah, but I mean, you basically. I was really I really thought for until Cup did some Cup stuff on Monday night. I really thought Hunter was going to have the worst performance in the league this year. That's just how broken down his team has, the state of his team is. He had one of his best because Lamar left so early. He basically had Cup and DJ Moore basically, and everybody else was Jalen Waddle on bye, Darrell Henderson hurt, obviously does not have McCaffrey anymore, didn't have Lamar. The attrition just hit Hunter too hard this year, and so he'll be in the Haney Cup, and I would be a little bit scared if I was him about but I guess we'll get to that later.
Yeah, well, we can get to that now. So I guess we don't really need to do power rankings at this point because we know what's going on, which is the playoffs.
Power rankings.
Oh well, I didn't make power rankings, but I can make power rankings in my head. I'll have Grant number 1, Nick number 2. Obviously with the 2 buys. Grant's just a much better team. Do you agree with that?
Yep.
And then I still feel like Colin at 3. I think he's just a better team than Dan. And then you at 4. And then I'll have Morgan at 5, Dan at 6. And then if we
I didn't hear 5 and 6.
What?
I didn't hear 5 and 6. You
I have Morgan at 5, Dan at 6.
Okay. I have Colin at 3, Morgan at 4, Dan at 5, me at 6. And then going into the Haney.
Why do you have you at 6? You're gonna win easily.
Well, I made him before. Well, first of all, I made him before the Thursday night game started, and me and Morgan's projections were a toss up. And now even with Mahomes' game, I'm only projected to win by 4, I think, or 5. Yeah, 120 to 115. Yeah, so 5. Yeah. So yeah, I still think Morgan's team fully healthy, if he gets Terry, is probably better. And I lost Tyler Lockett this week, so I'm down a key starter. Still don't have AJ Brown back. So yeah. And so for the Haney, I have Thomas at number 7. I have you at 8. I have Ben at 9. I have Hunter all the way down to 10. I had Austin at 11, but now that he lost Hopkins, I'm going to move Zach up to 11 and Austin to 12.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, having Thomas at 7 and me at 8 is very strange considering we play each other. So I would say Thomas at 7.
I just think y'all's 2 teams are the best one. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'd have Thomas at 7. Then I'd probably have Ben at 8, maybe me at 9, a little bit ahead of Hunter, just because I just beat Hunter and his team is sort of exploding. And then I agree with Zach and Austin. So yeah, pretty similar power rankings. I probably won't make a graphic because I was not writing those down, but I think we're along the
I
same
guess we
line.
don't like. I guess we don't have to do this like going forward when like obviously the winners in the Haney Cup this week and the losers in the playoffs, like, well, their season will be like they will be playing for nothing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess this is kind of last week where everybody is still alive for something.
Yeah, so let's talk about the playoffs real quick. So obviously Grant, the number 1 seed, and Nick, the number 2 seed, they will get buys. So obviously big advantage there, already into the second round. And then the first round matchups, we got Morgan against you with the 2-point home field advantage. And then we've got Colin taking the 2-point home field Colin with the 2-point home field advantage over Dan as the 4 seed. So I think, when I look at this bracket, the one thing that stands out to me is that I think you got a very favorable draw, because who we both agree are the 2 probably best teams in the league, which are Grant and Colin, at least the 2 best rosters, are on the same side of the bracket. So for Nick especially, but also you and Morgan, that's definitely a fortunate positioning for y'all.
Yeah, I think if Dan was really trying to game the system, he probably should have benched Odell and James Conner on Monday night and kept, because he already had the win going into Monday night, so he's allowed to do that. And then he wouldn't have then he would have stayed at the 6th seed. And so because he outscored you by enough too. So yeah, like I probably would have done that if I was Dan, because I agree. I think, Morgan and Nick's teams are very good, but I would say the 2 best teams, 2 most talented teams, rosters in the league are Colin and Grant, and that is Dan's path. If he beats Colin, he's got to play Grant, and then whoever comes out of our side of the bracket. So I think Dan definitely has the toughest path. And I'm very fortunate that James Conner and Odell Beckham just decided to have very good Monday night performances.
Yeah, and then obviously, Grant going for the 3-peat is in a great position. Nick, no previous championships. He's never been in the championship game. So, he hasn't really made a lot of playoff appearances. And the one year that he had a great regular season, which was 2011, he kind of tanked. Well, didn't tank. I mean, he had a decent performance, but he lost in the first round of the playoffs. So kind of unfamiliar territory for him to be contending deep in the playoffs. His last playoff appearance was 2017, so had missed playoffs 3 straight years prior to this year. And then, Colin and Morgan also have 1 championship each. You have 2 as well as Grant, and then Dan has no championship. So Dan and Nick are the 2 playoff teams who haven't yet to win a championship. And then we will talk about the Haney Cup just briefly. So Zach and Austin, obviously we already knew this with the 2 buys. And so we got Ben and Hunter competing on one side of the bracket, and me and Thomas on the other side of the bracket. And right now I'd say the bracket kind of shakes out evenly. I think Thomas is probably the tougher first round matchup, but you could argue that Zach's probably the tougher second round matchup. Although Austin's team did just have a great performance this week. So we'll see what happens. Some good matchups. I guess we can get into the playoff matchups now.
Yeah, I would say, well, yeah, you definitely have the hardest path, I think, because you play Thomas, who I think is the best, and then you play Zach, who's, if Thomas beats you, you play Zach, right?
No, I play Austin.
How does that? I thought you were the 7 seed.
Yeah, so the 7 and 10 winner gets the 12 seed. It's like, think about it. Like if you had
I thought Zach beat Austin.
Zach did beat Austin, so Austin's a 12.
7 and 10.
Winner plays 12.
If it's reversed, shouldn't they play the 11 seed? Because the 11 seed is like the 2 seed, and so it would be like how the 3 seed.
No, it works this way because you try to, like, you think anytime you make a bracket, you're trying to make the path easiest for the 1 seed. So the 1 seed being the 7 seed.
Yeah, but the 1 seed in the playoffs, it plays the 4-5 winner.
The 1 seed gets a bye in the playoffs. in the handicap playoffs, the 12 seed and 11 seed.
Okay, all right, whatever. Yeah.
I don't know. This is the way. I was a little bit confused on this too. I looked back at the bracket from last year, and that's why we did it.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm never in the handicap, so I don't know how it works.
Yeah, clearly. It shows, Joe. So anyway, if we just get into these matchups real quick. So obviously Grant, on bye, and he has 64 points between Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce tonight. So that's a little bit unfortunate to waste that. Is he peaking a little bit too early? We'll see. But we'll start with the 4-6 or the 4-5 game. Why would we start with that? Let's start with the 3-6 game, which is you and Morgan. And big performance for you from Mahomes, like you said, projected now to win by 5 despite the 2-point advantage.
Yeah, we're getting into predictions.
You want to predict? It's gonna be kind of hard to predict because the projections are different now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So I don't know.
Anyway, I'm killing you in the projections because last week I went 6-0 and you went 1-5. So
yeah,
I think it's basically wrapped up for the season.
Yeah,
I am. Let's see. I'm 45-39. You're 32-52. So I'm 13 games ahead of you.
It wasn't my year.
So are the and there's not even like 13 games left to like predict. So it'll be interesting. Really, the bit kind of the big storylines I think are whether I will have Nick Chubb and whether I called him Hunter again. Morgan will have Terry McLaurin. For me, Nick Chubb. That game might get canceled. Who knows? The COVID cases are spiking for the Browns. And for Morgan, Terry McLaurin, I think he practiced today, right?
I don't know. I didn't see.
Or whatever. He was in the concussion protocol, so maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's a little limited when he plays. So obviously, as Morgan's second best receiver, that's a big blow. As my Chubb being my first or second best running back, kind of up to interpretation there, or kind of up to judgment there. Key player is might not have him, and the options on my bench are not great, especially because 2 of my bench spots play tonight, and so that would definitely very much limit my flexibility, and I can't drop Tyler Lockett because he's too valuable. So I guess we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it is a nice thing to have that damn 2-point advantage that I fucking hate so much. So I guess that's okay for Morgan. Kind of limits the damage of tonight a little bit for him, but yeah. And then the other thing is I picked up Ronald Jones today because Leonard Fournette does not practice this week. So if Leonard Fournette does not play, that's a huge thing for me.
Yeah, that'll be something to watch for. Definitely be a steal. I haven't heard any talk about the Browns game getting canceled other than like seeing it speculation on Twitter, but I don't think that that's really in the cards. I don't know that they want to start canceling games. That would be very.
I don't know, delaying. Last year they were canceled them, but they like delayed it. They played like Tuesdays and shit.
Yeah, because I saw that the Rams have 25 people on the COVID list apparently. So
yeah,
I don't know. This COVID situation is still going out of control, but yeah. I mean, I think you're the favorite, and for good reason. I think your lineup is really solid, and obviously a big Mahomes game. Makes a huge difference. It looked like for a long time it wasn't going to be one, and then he sort of did his Mahomes thing, and now you're looking good. And then the other playoff matchup, Colin versus Dan. You would expect Colin to be the heavy favorite, and he is by almost 20-point margin. And so, what do you think? Does Dan got to have a chance here? We'll see what he does with his lineup, but he's had some really good performances from James Conner, really good performances from Hunter Renfrow. I think James Conner's been limited in practice, so we'll see if he plays. Or it has started actually. Austin Eckler played tonight. But yeah, I think Colin rolls in this one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Weird decision for Dan. I know the Chiefs have been playing like really good defense, but just kind of weird that he played them against the Chargers. Obviously, the Chargers have a really good offense, and that's going against like one of his key guys. But I guess so. The Chiefs underperformed by 4. Keenan Allen overperformed by 3. So yeah, I guess it's kind of a wish-wash night for both of them. So yeah. I mean, Colin's team is obviously a lot better. I would expect Colin to win, but you just never know. Although Dan's luck has usually run out usually runs out in the playoffs. So yeah, I would definitely expect Colin to win, but obviously, anything can happen. Josh Allen is not 100%, so we'll see there. If you can get Miles Sanders in there for Tyler Boyd or Michael Gallup, or I would probably trust a healthy Miles Sanders over them. So that would be nice for him. And yeah, he just has better options. Obviously, Dan doesn't really have a ton of options because Odell and Jarvis are both out with COVID. Maybe they were like hanging out or something. Uh, but yeah, so I think Colin would expect Colin to win. I think Dan can keep it close though. So if I were to predict, which we're not doing predictions, I think Dan would cover that 20.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that sort of in the subtext of all this that's becoming very apparent is that these trades did not work out for me at all. Because I made all these short-term deals, still missed playoffs. Mahomes and Tyreek both went nuts tonight. Mike Williams, who I traded who I traded for, was not good tonight. And just nothing has worked. Madison, I thought I was going to get 2 weeks out of, and then he just disappears. And obviously I won anyway, so I can't complain too much about that. But now he's got COVID, and it just, every string I pull is the wrong string. This is just going south. So I guess we can start talking about my matchup while we're on that. And I think I'm gonna have a tough time in this one. I mean, I think Thomas's team is just better. Obviously, I've got a shot, but the Michael Williams performance tonight doesn't increase my chances. And honestly, I don't know really what I'm doing with the bottom end of my lineup. Am I gonna roll Gabe Davis out there? Is maybe Connor gonna miss, and I'll get to plug in Chase Edmonds? I don't know, but I don't feel good about this at all.
Yeah, I guess that was another thing with Connor for Dan. That'll be a big thing. Yeah, I kind of expect this to be pretty close and going into Monday night, and then he's got Dalvin, and I feel like Dalvin against the Bears, and a little bit of cold weather. That yells out, just hammer the rock all game, which I'll be furious about with Justin Jefferson. But yeah, that feels like a big Dalvin game. So I agree. I think Thomas is coming into the Haney Cup like looking in good shape. His team kind of fell apart towards the end of the regular season, but he's getting all his key guys back, and he should be good for the Haney Cup, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, crazy to think that if I wasn't a moron, I could have a lineup with Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, Chuba Hubbard, Tyreek Hill. It could have been an entirely different situation. I could already have 60 points and be kind of sitting on a big projection, and now we have this.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, definitely not feeling good. And I think that maybe these short-term trades designed to get me into the playoffs will win me a third Haney Cup, which is it's obviously a beautiful trophy, and I'd be happy to bring it home. But I really don't want to do all that stuff again. I was talking to Hunter about it recently, and I was debating whether or not I would just try to do the Waffle House thing. But
I would do the Waffle House thing.
Yeah, but like I don't know, what would I end up sitting in a Waffle House for 16 hours and eating 8 waffles? Like that's just not really what I want to be doing. But
I would rather like get all of it done within like one day than like have to do like shit kind of all throughout the off season.
Yeah, that's a thought. So we'll see. Anyway, not feeling good about this one. And then the other matchup in the Haney Cup, which is Ben and Hunter, a rematch of last week. Ben projected the win. We'll see if Hunter gets Lamar. That's going to be the big thing to watch. I think he has been limited in practice. Is that right?
Yeah. There was like something about that came out today that he like left practice or something. No, he missed practice today. So yeah, he hasn't practiced this week. So not looking great.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But obviously he gets Jalen Waddle back. Jalen Waddle's out. Is he on COVID?
Oh, does he?
I don't know. I just see an O next to his name.
Oh, geez.
Didn't know about that. But so he'll be starting Kenny Galladay. But I think Ben C might just be better, although he does still have Myles Gaskin in his lineup, who's also on COVID. So we'll see if he comes in. And yeah, I don't know. This is just this is gonna be a close matchup. It's basically a toss-up game. but it
Yeah,
doesn't feel like the vibes are very good on Hunter's team. Ben made a late season surge, came up a little bit short of the playoffs, but I think the morale is a little bit higher. I'll take Ben.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. I think the loser of this game is in real trouble. I think, which is lucky for the winner of this game. I think these two teams are probably the worst two teams in the league, like from a roster standpoint. But it's obviously lucky for one of them that they didn't get a bye, and that one of them, and that they get to play each other, and one of them will win and not have to worry about the Haney. But
you
yeah,
could argue that getting a lucky win against Hunter was actually unlucky for me.
well, yeah, that and Austin like blowing up against Thomas, and then because if Thomas won, and then there was like a tie at 6 and 8, then you would have played Hunter again, I think, and so
Not great.
yeah. I think the loser of this game is in real trouble because kind of trades and attrition, injuries have just kind of decimated both of these rosters. It will be funny if Cooper Kupp wins this game for Hunter. That would probably be like one thing for Hunter to hang his hat on this season, because it's the trade of the season, I think many would argue. And if he ended up knocking out the team that traded Cooper Kupp to him, or getting out of the Haney Cup because of it, that would be a pretty fortunate swing of events.
Yeah, that definitely would. Well, that's kind of our first round playoff preview. And then Joe, I want you to fill out your bracket for me. So what do you think is going to happen? Not what you want to happen. What do you think is going to happen? Pick every playoff game.
Okay, I don't like to look ahead, but when I'm involved, but I guess I will. Colin will beat Dan. I'm gonna preemptively say, because Mahomes had such a good game, that I'm gonna beat Morgan. Although we'll see with Leonard Fournette and with the Browns and all that. And then, do you want me to do like in the NCAA where you want me to go all the way down to the Haney Cup and then do the second round of everything? And then,
sure, why not? Why not? I agree with your two picks so far.
I think so. Ben beats Hunter. Haney beats you, and then Grant beats Colin in the second round. Me and Nick. I think I'm gonna beat Nick. I think I'm gonna go to the championship.
All right, we still have the same bracket. Except I could see Colin upsetting Grant. I don't know why.
He definitely could.
It feels like at some point,
Colin puts up like once like every 4 weeks, he'll put up like 180 points. So you never know.
It just feels like at some point Grant's playoff success is gonna run out.
True. Like Grant's team is just so deep. I guess that doesn't really. Which actually, I think that actually does matter now that with all the COVID cases. Yeah, I think depth is like a huge thing now.
Yeah.
Because if Jonathan Taylor gets placed on the COVID list, Colin's just fucked. And so the other bracket, so you would be playing Zach,
Austin.
You're gonna beat Austin, so it'll be Austin, and then I think Zach will beat Hunter. So I think it's gonna be it'll be Grant and me in the championship and the DJ, and
I've got Colin and you.
Okay, and Austin, Hunter, and the Haney. I think Grant's gonna beat me. I think Grant's gonna three-peat. And then I think that's gonna be close. I think Hunter's gonna beat Austin.
I think Austin's team is still better than Hunter. I got Hunter winning the Haney. I got you winning the DJ.
That's gonna be I mean, Austin did put up. I guess he had DeAndre Hopkins, but DeAndre Hopkins didn't do a ton on Monday, and Austin still put up like whatever 130 something. So yeah.
I think you winning the DJ on a Jonathan Taylor COVID case would just be the classic Joe win.
No, I can't predict myself to win the championship.
I can predict you to win the championship. And I kind of think I might win the Haney Cup. I don't really love my chances, but we'll see. I mean, the teams are all, sort of jumbled at this point. And obviously COVID can throw a wrench in anything. So I've just been watching my bench. But okay. And then the other thing I wanted to do, I'll share my screen for a second, is just sort of go through the year and talk about talk about how it kind of goes in the historical spectrum. So let's see. So we got all-time single regular seasons. Let me okay. We got all-time single regular seasons here. And so, all-time points, I think that's what it's sorted by. And Colin, new scoring record. Obviously, we had an extra game, but a big total. Grant second. 2019, Austin still in third overall in scoring, which is a little bit crazy considering he played one less game. And then Morgan, Dan, and you all in the top 6 all time. And then points against, I think Austin obviously clearly wins this in a landslide. Grant becomes the first 12-win regular season ever. And you can see Morgan and Nick with 10, both tied for 4th most all time with a whole bunch of other teams. But Grant obviously the first to ever get to 12. 2 ties the fewest losses, obviously. Games 14. Points per game. So I think Colin squeaked it out in the points per game by a point and a half over 2019 Austin. So we have a new points per game record. And points against per game, we have a record by a ton. So Austin really excelled in that category. I'll do the low, or not low. That's not what I want to do. But Ben way back here, he's
And Zach almost caught him too. Like Zach's second, right? Yeah.
No.
I really almost caught him. 5 points a game. That's pretty. Or yeah, 4 points a game. That's a lot.
Yeah. And then, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. All-time margin of victory. So Grant actually set a new record for all-time margin of victory, winning his games by 29.5 points per game, which is the most in league history. That when you score a lot and your opponents don't, that's what happens. And then if we do the opposite direction, Austin was the second lowest all-time margin and the third lowest all-time margin per game. Morgan, Colin, and Grant all became the first teams with 1,200-point games in a single season. Colin tied the record with 7 125-point games. Pretty crazy that Austin did 725-point games in 13 games 2 years ago. And then 150-point games, Grant with 3, a new record. So Grant won, I think, 4 games by 50. I think that ties the record. Yeah, ties me in 2014. So, great regular season for Grant. Obviously, top 5 all-time Murray with the number 5 score there. Joe, what did you think of the Murray, by the way?
I mean, you love creating these stats. I don't know what to.
Look,
I don't know what to say.
I don't see why you're so salty, Joe. You have the 17th highest Murray all time in a single season. Something to be proud of.
Sure. Listen, we're focused on the wins.
And you have the 27th all time.
Listen, we settle things on the field, not in the spreadsheets on my team.
You have 2 top 30 all time Murray seasons.
Hey, there you
go. Anyway, so that about does it for our look at the statistics of the year. Joe, anything else we should talk about? About the season that was.
No, I mean, I think it was another pretty good season. Like, obviously, very very top heavy. I mean, when you have a 12-2, you have a 12-win team and 2 10-win teams, and then the 8-win team is your highest scorer. And then you have 2 3-win teams down at the bottom. Yeah, I would say a little bit. Obviously, the middle was very close, but yeah, a lot of normally a little bit more parity throughout the league. But yeah, so I think it was a little bit of a unique year in that sense. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I imagine I enjoyed this year a little bit more than you, and we're looking forward to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just the way this year ended, I think I probably was a little bit too aggressive in the trade market, bolstering for the playoffs, and it's backfired big time, and now might result in another handicap. But you know what? I did what I could. I got in the tiebreak at 7-7, and chips just didn't fall my way. We had a really tough time scoring the second half of the year. So we're gonna be back to the drawing board next year, and maybe I won't suck. I've missed. This is I think my 6th time is the playoff in the last 7 years or something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but it's been rough. We've had some lean years. This is my 5th time in the last 6 years missing the playoffs after making it for the first 5 straight years. So it's been tough. Times have been hard. I would much rather be in Grant's shoes, obviously. But we'll be back. I am due, as we know. So So yeah, good luck in the playoffs to everyone who made it, and let's all just root against Grant three-peating, I guess. I don't know what would make me more annoyed, Grant three-peating or you getting your third championship.
Yeah, I can see that. Like your dilemma there. Yeah, it's just like not a great look. No offense to Grant, it's just not a great look if just a team wins 3 straight. Like, when the hell does that ever happen? Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean that's like what the statistic I put in the group me, like of the top 10 all-time Murray seasons. So like, the 10 just best regular season teams. Zach in 2014 is the only one who actually won the championship, and he was like ninth. So these teams that have great regular seasons like generally don't win the championship. Um,
Yeah,
and
I mean, yeah, it is like a week. Yeah, it is like a week to week thing, and like obviously anything can kind of happen in a given week. It's just like not like with COVID. I think like Grant's depth is just like really good. Like he has like good options on his bench if something if something were to happen, and like Sony is kind of splitting the work now. Jamal, like DeAndre Swift's still not bad. Pat Fryermuth is like actually pretty good, and he's got Michael Carter on his IR, who like will be coming back soon. So like he has just like really good options on his bench that other teams just don't have if they have like COVID situations happen.
yeah, no, I mean I agree. His team's obviously he's the favorite for a reason. And yeah, I agree. It's not a great look for one team to win 3 years in a row, but he's shown up when it counted 3 years in a row. I think this is by far his best regular season.
So who are you cheering for?
Who am I cheering for?
Yeah.
I would say Nick.
I agree. Nick was my number one team. He's never won the league before, or preseason number one team. Never won the league before. So yeah, I think he would be a good addition to the
I thought you
DJ
should
one.
be cheering for yourself. Not gonna lie.
I said like other than myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't
Fair
win.
enough. Yeah, no, I'm cheering for Nick. Dan, I'd be okay with too, but I can't get over a few years ago Dan colluding. It's just not a good look. I don't know about his integrity as a human being, so I kind of question that. And
You named a
so
whole graphic after him,
what?
unless that was just coincidence. Right? You named a whole stat after him, unless that might have just been a coincidence. So
No, what? It's not named after anyone. It stands for mathematics utilized to
oh,
relate
okay,
regular seasons across years.
okay.
Yeah, no. So total coincidence. In fact, I didn't realize that was actually Dan's last name until just now.
Oh
That's a great
yeah,
point.
I'm glad I'm here to point that out to you.
Yeah, I might need to rename it now. Maybe we can name it the Stevens.
Stats to
Statistics
enter. I don't know.
statistics to evaluate.
Probability.
Yeah, statistics to evaluate. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to workshop it.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll leave it at Murray for now.
Listen,
Um,
I mean you'll come up with like a new stat next year, and it'll be like and to
I
show
kind
how
of need a
good
playoff
you are.
one or one that includes playoffs.
I mean, yeah, that would be nice. Consider that's where the championships are won.
I mean, but that's the thing. Is like I feel like we just have championships, which is just a good playoff stat.
I listen. I rings plus minus is the primary stat I follow.
I agree. Anyway, all right. Well, that was a good episode. Better late than never. Y'all will see this on Friday morning. So good luck to those in the playoffs, and if you're in the handicap, I hope you win.